This video is going to cover the 6 ways to get your offer accepted every time. Coming from someone who has helped hundreds of buyers help and get the best deal for them.
Working with Ellie was awesome because I found out I had to PCS and sell my house really fast, and everything went so smoothly. I sold it right when I wanted to for the price I wanted to, and it was great.
And from someone who puts their money where their mouth is, because I've purchased a property every single year for the last 6 years, I know how to get my offers accepted. So whether or not you're even looking to purchase in Tucson.
This is the first home that I've purchased where we made money on the purchase of the home.
But if you're looking to purchase elsewhere, I got you. I can connect you to another great quality agent. Just shoot me a text or book a call with the link below. Let's start with number 6. An appraisal gap is when you place an offer. Say we're making an offer at $500,000. The appraisal comes in low. Say the appraisal comes in at $450,000. And the reason you even offered $500,000 to begin with is because there were a lot of other buyers and you wanted to secure that house before the interest rates go up or before someone else snagged it, whatever the reason is. You go through negotiations, you do your inspections, and then the appraiser goes out and says, actually, we think this house is worth $450,000. That's a delta of $50,000. Now the gap could be $1,000, it could be $5,000, it could be $50,000, it could be $100,000. I have seen it all. But if you as the buyer already knew that you were willing to pay whatever the difference may be, that is one hell of a reason for a seller to accept your offer over anyone else's. You may think, how do I know how low the appraisal is going to come at? What if I offer too high? This is why you need a quality real estate agent that knows how to run comps, that is able to give you a good estimate of how much the house will appraise at. Will it be to the dollar? No, nobody can do that. So I want to set that expectation straight, because by the time you have done your inspections and the lender sends the appraiser out, the lender doesn't even know which appraiser is going to go out there until they have already locked in with the appraisal. And the joke within all real estate agents is that if you send 3, 4, 5 appraisers to one house in the same conditions, same time, all those 5 different appraisers are going to come back at different prices. Appraisers are people. Now, in some states, the appraiser does have access to the contract, which in this case may be a good thing for you because they may be able to justify and say, yes, the house actually would be worth $500,000. If the buyer agreed to it, the seller agreed to it, I can make that work. Whatever your thoughts on that may be, some states allow the appraiser to see the contract. So don't be surprised if the appraisal comes in at the same dollar amount, down to like the 10th of a dollar, valuing the property at exactly what you offered. But because appraisers are people too, the appraisers sometimes will say, no, actually, I don't know how the buyer and seller agreed to this. The house is not worth this much. It's not $500,000, it's $450,000. In that case, the reason you got your offer accepted most likely is because you offered the appraisal gap, meaning whatever the difference is, you are going to pay it. And usually in a financed offer, that means you as the buyer would have to pay that out of your pocket. You cannot finance the difference. Now, if you didn't want to do something that drastic, number 5 would be an appraisal shortfall. This typically helps you as the buyer more because it's less up to chance. It's less up to whichever appraiser goes out there. What the appraisal shortfall means is, using the same scenario, if you're making an offer at $500,000, if the appraisal comes in at $450,000, in your original offer, you had already stated, whatever the appraisal comes in at, I am willing to pay X amount or X percentage over that low appraisal up until this point. So that way you're not leaving it up to chance and a potential $50,000 difference that you'd have to pay out of your pocket. Instead, you say, if the appraisal comes in low, I'm willing to pay $10,000 more. A very important part of that statement is if the appraisal comes in low. It does not mean that if you're offering $500,000 and the appraisal comes in higher, this is only in case of a low appraisal. And to back it up a little bit, there are 3 main negotiation points throughout a home buying transaction. The first one is during the original offer. These are my terms. This is how much earnest money I'll be putting in, etc., etc. The seller can counter, the seller can accept, the seller can reject. All that is negotiation period number 1. Negotiation period number 2 is when you're doing inspections. This is what I found, Mrs. Seller, and I would like you to fix this, or in lieu of you fixing, can you please credit me $2,000? I'll do it myself. That's negotiation period number 2. Negotiation period number 3 is typically it's done after the inspections, because after the inspections, that's when you will tell your lender, yes, I want to continue. I have done the inspections, I've done my due diligence, and I'm going to proceed with this property. let's order the appraiser to go out there. Then negotiation period number 3 is when the appraiser goes out there, slaps a number on there, and if it is low, that means we have to negotiate again. Depending on what loan type you have, you may have more protections. Also depends on what you originally offered to begin with. If you signed away some of your rights, then you may be on the hook to pay that appraisal gap or an appraisal shortfall. So the reason an appraisal shortfall may be more interesting or beneficial to you and also to the seller is because you wouldn't be on the hook for that full 50. Instead, you may have originally offered saying, I'll pay $5,000 above a low appraisal. Now, $5,000 usually isn't that really that big of a difference. That's not something sellers go crazy about, but at least it's something. May be able to get your foot in the door over any other buyers.
Working with Ali was great because being away from Tucson, she was very helpful and not only recommending the good areas, but also recommending good schools for my daughter. And she made sure the transaction was very smooth. So I just came here for the closing and it was a great experience.
Again, a low appraisal, if you're paying above that has to come out of your pocket, cannot be financed. So if you know you have an extra cushion of $20,000 and you're willing to use that as part of your negotiation to get the deal that you want and the house that you want, then that's beautiful. That is such a good way to get your offer accepted. You don't have to use a full 20. By the way, if I'm ever going too fast with this, I am from New York originally. I do speak a little bit faster. So if you have any questions, drop it in the comments below. I respond to all comments. I also respond to all text messages. But if you already know that you want to start working with me, you can go ahead and book a call on my calendar with the link below in the description. Moving over to the 4th best way to get your offer accepted is to waive certain contingencies. Now, 2 examples of that would be you can waive the appraisal altogether. And this is typically for cash buyers because if you're purchasing a property with a loan, the lender does not want to just loan on a property all willy-nilly. They typically have to use an appraiser to go out there and give an actual valuation of the property. But if you're a cash buyer, a lot more leeway. So when you're drafting the offer, you can say, you know what? I'm going to waive the appraisal. I will not even look at the appraiser. I don't need it. This is how much I'm willing to offer, period. If the house is actually worth less, I don't care. I will pay at that price. If the house is worth more, this is why I'm offering this price. After all, cash is king. And after all, a house is actually only worth what the buyer and seller are willing to sell it at. So that would be waiving the appraisal. What you could also do is waive inspections. Now, again, if you're financing a loan, like for example, I work with majority of VA buyers because I spent 10 years in the military, active duty. I was a federal agent and special agent for the Air Force. And now I use those negotiation skills and get you the best damn deal that I can. So with a lot of VA loans, they will not allow you to just waive all the inspections. In Arizona, with a VA loan, it is required that you at least get 1 inspection, and that 1 inspection is a pest inspection because termites are very, very common. A house in Tucson either has termites already or will have termites soon. Trust me. But the other thing that you can waive is the inspections. So you can say, I'm not going to get any inspections overall, which I as a real estate agent never recommend, no matter how seasoned of an investor you are. Or you can say, I'm going to get inspections, but I will not be using them against you. This is my informational purposes only. So in that way, you get your offer accepted, and during the due diligence period of inspections, you're still getting your inspections. But if you find termites, if you find plumbing, issues, if you find whatever issues that you find, you will not be submitting that form saying, hey, I found XYZ and the plumbing is broken and the dishwasher doesn't work and I want you to fix it. You've already waived that in the beginning. Now, that does not mean that you are locked in. You are still able to back out because in Arizona, during the inspection period, you are still able to leave. And going right into the inspection period, the 3rd way to get your offer accepted every single time is to shorten that inspection period altogether. In the state of Arizona, 10 days is the standard. That's what's on the contract. That's what agents are typically used to. It's a comfortable amount of time for us on our end to schedule the inspections, for the inspection companies to go out to the property, for us to get the report back, for us to talk about it after and discuss a path moving forward. But if time is a ticking and the seller needs to sell fast or just wants to sell fast, a good way would be to shorten it and say, hey, I don't need the full 10 days of inspection. Big comma. If you do it in 5, do not expect to be able to do all of the inspections possible. For example, general and the pest and the HVAC and the electric and the plumbing and the sewer scope and the roof. If you're getting the entire a la carte menu, then at that point, stick with the 10 days. But if you're only looking to do the Pest, say you're using a VA loan and you just want to get your offer accepted on this property, maybe you choose to only have the inspection that is necessary, which is the Pest, or maybe you want a Pest and just a general home inspection, then in that case, very easily you can change the 10-day to 5 days. I will say at this time, roof inspectors usually go out there pretty fast, especially since sellers don't need to let them in the door. The roofing companies go out early in the morning, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. They get their job done. They walk around the roof, okay, done. We typically get the report back same day. Plumbing takes a little bit longer. It takes a couple of days. Electric and HVAC, same thing. Again, it really depends on what season we're at and if you want a specific inspector to go out there or if you're open to just anyone going out there. But that is a good way to get your offer accepted, although this does not match any of the ones that I've already listed. This is just like an extra. This is probably the cherry on top. It's not the whole frosting. The second best way to get your offer accepted is to write an offer that says, I will pay you $10,000 more if you accept the offer today. Now, what this does is it puts pressure on the listing agent to show that offer to the seller as fast as they can, the seller to make a decision. It adds that timeline to it, like, hey, my offer will expire in 24 hours and it will go down to $10,000 below or $5,000 below. Of course, the more, the better. And we can also write it in the offer that says the specific date and time in which the offer will no longer be that $10,000 above. So if we submit an offer today, let's say today is a Friday, we will write in the offer saying our offer is $510,000 if it is accepted by Saturday at 6 p.m. Starting Saturday at 6:01 p.m. Arizona time, the offer will be $500. It will no longer be $510. We could do something like that. That works a lot. I love being creative and getting the offers of my buyers accepted every time. It works like a charm. Again, I spent 10 years negotiating as an Air Force officer in the Office of Special Investigations, and now I take that exact playbook and the scripts and the psychology behind it, and I get your offers for the best deal possible for you. I do this all day, every day. I love the amount of reach outs that I've been getting. So if you want to work with me, book a call using the link below. If you came across this channel and you're not purchasing in Tucson, that is okay. I can still help you.
You're very informative, and just watching your videos and how in tune you are to Tucson and the areas and all that, we have all the confidence that you can help us get exactly what we're looking for.
There are other agents that are quality agents. I know agents at every single Air Force base. So reach out to me. And if you're not near an Air Force base, if you're looking to purchase elsewhere, that's totally fine too. Reach out and I'll see if I know someone that is good, because I would never send you somebody that's bad. And I can connect you with a quality agent. Now, saving the best for last, the number one way to get your offer accepted every freaking time in the state of Arizona is to have a non-refundable earnest money. Nobody is doing this. I do not know why, because it works like a charm every time. It slaps. In other states, this is common. This is standard. This is actually required. For example, in the state of North Carolina, buyers have to give non-refundable earnest money, and they don't call it that. They call it, I forget what they call it. It doesn't matter. The point is, the buyers give money to the seller and say, this is my money to you, whether or not I buy this house. If I end up canceling, this is your money that I'm paying you just for the opportunity to take your house off the market. That is brilliant. And whenever I list homes, that is actually what I require. I want some skin in the game. I don't just give me some offer willy-nilly saying, oh, I'll pay $100K over and I'm going to waive the gap and I'm going to have an escalation clause and blah, blah. And I haven't even covered escalation clause here. But in Arizona, it is so buyer friendly, which is great for you, but it makes the sellers feel very, very hesitant. So at this point, you've likely already heard of what earnest money is. Earnest money, good faith money, saying, hey, I plan on putting 1% is pretty common, 1% of the purchase price or the loan amount down as good faith money, saying, yes, I am serious about this property. But what the state of Arizona is, the buyers can get that back almost every time. There are situations where the buyers cannot get that back and the sellers keep it. But the reasoning behind earnest money to begin with is saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what I'm offering you because I am serious about the property. And it's getting misconstrued. A lot of people are putting $500 as earnest money. And it's like, that means absolutely nothing. Now, what does mean something? You take that $500 and you make it non-refundable. Again, no one is doing this. And it does two things here. What this does is it tells a seller that this buyer is so serious that they're willing to give me $500. It doesn't even need to be a lot. $500. Of course, if you do $1,000, $5,000, the more the better. If you are serious about the property. And the more money you put down as non-refundable earnest money, the more experienced I hope you are. If not, I'll guide you through the process. But when that seller even gets just $500, you're like, oh my gosh, no matter what, if this buyer backs out, I at least will be paid $500 for the month that it was taken off the market. And that makes the seller feel so much more comfortable. That's point number one, and probably one of the biggest. The second thing that this does is it puts more skin in the game from you. That way you're not offering just willy-nilly. Are you committed to this property? Is it a property that you want so much that you're willing to put $500 on the line to where if you cancel, you're okay with it? You at least scooped up that property before anybody else was able to make an offer and get it accepted. You take this property off the market, and the price for that house being just yours for the week or the month is $500. That to me is worth it, and that works like a charm every time. If you want more information like this, watch this video over here, and if you decide we would be a good fit together, book a call using the link below. I'll see you on the Zoom, baby. Bye.